All right, everybody. I think I'm streaming live on YouTube right now. First time doing it. Let me see. Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. Okay. All right, everybody. Haven't posted any fantasy football or DFS content to my channel in a while, but I've been doing a lot of best ball drafts for the upcoming NFL season. So I wanted to share a draft with you and some information and my takes on things. It's my first draft with I'm using Streamlabs software. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. This is on DraftKings. I've been doing both DraftKings and Underdog. Primarily, I'd say 3/4 of the money were probably on DraftKings because I had a good balance there. So we're going to go ahead and enter the waiting room. Now this is the $20 one that pays $2 million to first, the DraftKings Millie. Now I do have the Sidekick installed, which is from Legendary Upside. I downloaded it on a free trial a couple weeks ago, and it's pretty good. And I figured I would try it through August, through the best ball season. I actually canceled my Saber Sim at the same time, so about the same cost, something like that. I had a really successful year until a few months ago, and then golf has been going horribly wrong. So I'm holding off on the DFS a bit until football starts. Baseball, I had a little success, NBA, but the grind of doing it every day and then just kind of getting crushed in golf like I never have before. Even though I was using SaberSim and doing all kinds of work on my own on it. But anyway, so last year was my first year being real successful. Real heavy into best ball, and I was profitable both on the regular season and the playoff best ball on DraftKings. Underdog, I only did a tiny bit. This year, I'm ramping up the Underdog a lot more. That's what all the influencers are promoted by, basically. They don't tend to mention that they're getting money. A lot of them are getting money put into their accounts to draft on stream. I really wish they would disclose that up front. But that's partially what got me interested in best ball last year, or knowledgeable, was kind of starting off with, okay, so this draft's getting ready to start. All right, I'm going to need to shrink some things to try to show you on my screen how I do this. So on Firefox, I go to 80%, and I stretch out the Sidekick. So I have like 7-8 choices on here. But I also want to look at ADP. The rankings I'm using currently, I think these are ADP rankings. I need to double check though. I kind of want to reset it to ADP, but I'm telling the Sidekick that I wanted to use leg ups ratings, Legendary Upside, and on their sim algo, which is a new thing that they've recently put in. How do I get this to fit better? Let's see. There you go. And so the draft starts in 56 seconds, and I have the 9 pick. Now, the backside of the more drafts you do, you start realizing what you're going to get. And at the current ADPs, now things are going to probably change a lot in August, certain things based on training camp, news, possible injuries, things like that. And the DraftKings drafts are 30-second delay, 30-second between picks, and they take 2 minutes to start. The underdog is a minute, and the picks are 20 seconds, which makes them go faster. However, sometimes it can be a little fast. I do like DraftKings that it's 20 rounds. I tend to build a 3-6-8-3 build, and the vast majority of cases, that's 3 quarterbacks, 6 running backs, 8 wide receivers, and 3 tight ends. But on Underdog, you have a little more diversity in what you can build, how you can build it out. You can do a 2-5-6-3 types of things, or 2-5-8-3. Sorry. You can do a 3-5-7-3. So you see here the sidekicks are Chase went first. Sidekicks recommending Justin Jefferson, Barkley, Lamb. Now with the first 2 rounds, I often don't use the sidekick quite as much because I'm tracking my exposures, and I want different exposures to the first couple rounds in particular, and sort of the setups of the first 2, 3, 4 rounds. So I don't necessarily follow it, but I do look at this a lot because it does show the correlations in an easy place. I mean, I virtually know all the week 17 buys and all that, although I still do use a notebook at times because I'm older. But this will have a nice display of that. And what they created was a sim on here, in addition to their rankings, which actually differ quite a bit from the generic rankings in ADP. But anyway, they created a sim with Shady Advice and Sacrilegious and some other really top successful DFS and best ball players, which basically I think creates sort of a universe for each draft of like this was successful in this sim. And their top pick is at the top, recommended at the top. I don't recommend taking McCaffrey in the first round, so I'm going to go. I have a lot of neighbors. I don't really. I like the wide receivers here at the end of the first. Take him in the first round right now, so I'm going to take Neighbors. He is on the Giants, but number one, I actually think the Giants' offense is going to be a little better this year because they have Russell Wilson and then possibly Jackson Dart. They actually have a decent amount of weapons, and Neighbors put up numbers last year on a bad team. He really could be have a Justin Jefferson type year, could be a wide receiver 1, 2, 3 pretty easily, in my opinion. He's got a bye week of 14. A lot of times the bye weeks this year, 8 and 14, I tend to have a lot of those, so you have to be careful about having too many of those at one position. So you can see the sidekicks here showing Ashton Genty has a week 17 correlation. The Raiders are playing the Giants, as does Brock Bowers. I have been tending to look when it wraps back around for a wide receiver or possibly a running back here. I'm avoiding taking McCaffrey in the first round because although I have some of all these guys, I'm pretty balanced on the big names. It's when we get further down I'm not as balanced. And I've done something like 200 something drafts on those combined. I think I've done over 250 drafts with about twice as much, 2/3 of the money on DraftKings. So I've been doing a lot of drafts. Anyway, what I'm sort of into right now is going with the 2 wide receiver start when you're down here. If you get Bowers, London, A.J. Brown, McConkey type thing. Achane is another choice, and Genty. I don't really like Henry as much. Now Bowers and McBride, if you use any kind of sim thing or they'll be recommending them a lot. However, they fall late a lot, and you can get them on both Underdog and DraftKings often towards the end of the second round, or even on the wraparound of the 2-3 turns. So I don't really like taking them that much early. Also, I find it make the teams difficult to build when you start off with one of the elite tight ends. So Brian Thomas is here, which is good because I'm a little bit underexposed to him. He was amazing last year, and they've added pieces, but they've also should be more explosive and high scoring with Liam Cohen coming in. I'm not saying Liam Cohen is the holy grail like some people are acting, but he was the offensive coordinator at Kentucky, where I live, University of Kentucky, and He was great here. Then he went right back to the Rams. He's from the Sean McVay tree. So pretty confident the Jags are going to score a lot of points and put up a lot of fantasy points. Brian Thomas is going to be the alpha. The question with Travis Hunter that everybody's looking. I think I can only record 30-minute videos on my version of my free version of Streamlabs I'm trying out. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to show this full draft, I don't think. But I will be putting some drafts up here and some thoughts as I go along. You can see I kind of like to give thoughts as I go along, kind of like Liam Murphy. Now I like Liam's analysis a lot. He really is a successful player. There's a lot of other people who are more analytical and systematic, like Pat Kerrane and that crew, and they established the run crew, Leone, and then Pete Overzet and Davis Maddock and stuff. But Liam has success. I mean, last year he's a little bit more vibes based, but he does a lot of thought into different takes and different ways things could play out. And he kind of has a confidence vibe that actually can help in DFS. I mean, I know it sounds stupid, but so like last year he didn't have a great success rate in the regular season, but I think he had one team end up in the finals, maybe two, but one of them went really far, and as he keeps saying, may have gotten second if Chase Brown didn't sit. And the same thing happened to me. I was in a smaller best ball tournament on DraftKings, and I had Chase Brown in a final, and I ended up winning, I don't know, 2,000 or 4,000, and I could have won 20. So I was screaming and yelling about that, and not real happy. My wife she doesn't like when I scream and yell about sports stuff, but that's the only way I can let it out. This is basically my job. And the only times I do that is when shit goes really haywire, and I get nervous only when I have a real major sweat at the end. And I've had some crazy shit happen on golf this year that always against me, that would drive anyone, kind of nuts. The vast majority of people, maybe not Nerdy Tenor or these guys without a pulse, who are really smart and good. Anyway, so on the board, nobody's taken a quarterback yet. Now when you're down here, you have the option to take the elite quarterbacks, and I think the elite quarterbacks overall are really good picks this year. If you're only going to do a few drafts, I would grab Allen, Lamar, Daniels, or Hurts when he comes back, if he comes back here, or possibly Burrow here somewhere if you have Higgins, Chase Brown. And there is a Cincinnati-Arizona stack in the Week 17 final game that everybody is on, and it may be the nuts. It's a chalk thing. So a lot of people will take Chase, McBride here, and possibly Harrison, Higgins, Chase Brown. I tend to only take like Chase and McBride type thing. I don't really want to have three right off the bat. But the elite quarterbacks are really, really good, look really, really good. And the third round is sort of the weak spot. This is a iffy range here, because Garrett Wilson, Rashee Rice, JSN, Harrison, the running backs, it's a tricky spot. Kyron, there's guys that reason to dislike all of these guys. Oh, Chase Brown almost fell to me. So on ADP, ADP Lamar, Devontae Adams, McLaurin, and the sidekick is recommending Lamar. And as I mentioned, I'm like, yes, there's risk. Devontae has a thing, so I'm going to go ahead and take him. So once you have an elite quarterback locked down, that I actually find that easier to draft with. The elite tight end in round 2 is tricky. So in Baltimore's a Green Bay stack. Jacksonville's Indiana, and the Giants are Raiders. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll go ahead and click the quarterbacks that stack with them. Sometimes I'll stack the whole teams, or I'll click the whole teams for the queue. On mobile, you want to be careful of doing that, because I've gotten auto queued some terrible guys before, because you can't auto sort it on there on mobile. But with Sidekick, I don't do that quite as much. I will keep an eye later on like what quarterbacks are left when I need to get my second and third ones. So now here, Flowers. Flowers goes later. He goes at 55. So it's a gamble if he's going to be back here on the wraparound, but it's a nice stack with Lamar. I wouldn't recommend rushing him here because Flowers will often just be here if you just want him, and you'll get him sometimes here, and sometimes you can wait. Like this guy took Hurts. Hurts has been rising. Daniels often goes first. I've been thinking Hurts would rise. I really like Hurts this year. Kittle is the third elite tight end. So it's recommending Omari and Hampton, more Cook. I like that Omari and Hampton. Get my first running back done. And he's looking real good. Najee Harris has an eye thing. And, you know, the thing about this year is last year was the year of the rookie wide receivers and actually tight ends, and quarterbacks. The rookie quarterbacks this year were the ones just drafted were considered extremely subpar. The wide receivers were subpar, and the tight ends were pretty good. But the running backs, was known to be a really, really good running back college class. So keep that in mind when you're drafting. Now, I will end up drafting a lot of rookie wide receivers just because their values and whatnot. But the rookie running backs, there's guys drafted in the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 3rd, all those rounds that could have good best ball roles. Because remember, for best ball, with the rookie, a lot of times you can need them to come on at the end of the season. And they did last year. I didn't have enough rookies. I think every best ball team you draft should probably have a minimum of 2 or 3 rookies. You can get them in the late rounds if you don't get them earlier. Now, in July 18th, when I'm doing this, obviously training camps haven't started yet, so there's a lot that's unknown, but that's a positive and negative risk, because if I'm getting a guy late, a rookie running back or wide receiver, and it turns out he's going to have a good role, he's going to go up, so I'm getting a good value, but you're also taking the risk that some guys are going to have no role, and some guys might even get cut. But again, I kind of want to make the distinction of the rookie running backs should be the key this year over the wide receivers and all that. So like Tet, he's going super high. Cam Ward, Travis Hunter. Teams always want a wide receiver high in the first round. And the year before, it's what worked, but that doesn't mean Ted is a Neighbors or a Marvin Harrison or any of those. Now, some compare him to Mike Evans. And this also presumes that Carolina is going to continue to improve and Bryce Young is going to play well, which is iffy. So I'd take him, but I'm not in love with taking him. Travis, I take him a lot of times because they're just pounding the table on him, like for example here. So you want to have some exposure to him. Now, I want Zay Flowers coming back around, and the sidekick knows that. And remember, his ADP is 55, so we'll see if somebody snipes me on him. I won't be crushed if they don't. Of the elite quarterbacks, I actually like Lamar the best right now. So you see here, this guy went ahead and snapped up Burrow to go with his Chase and Higgins. He didn't want to wait and risk it because he would have had to wait all those picks, 23 picks or whatever it is. Let me see if there were any big surprises or any. Now, sometimes on DraftKings, they're just playing by the book, and sometimes they do crazy shit. This guy's a stochastic. Usually if you see people with these kind of logos, they're a little more serious type players because they're generally paying for a premium service anyway, a fantasy football or whatnot. I have SaberSim on there. I might actually remove that now that I'm not with them, because when you're with them and you do cash in, you get free months or upgrades, and I did get that several times from them this year already and the end of last year. Anyway, we're hoping Zay Flowers comes back around. If he doesn't, probably going to get a running back. I lean to getting running backs early, but I've been trying to slow down a little bit on that. But last year was a running back year in the NFL. The NFL is moving into a phase, in my opinion, of the grind it out. Defense is stopping long passes. And the mindset he took Chuba, that's who I wanted. Oh, Zay's there. I'll take Zay. Oh, he took Zay? Are you fucking kidding me? That's snipe. Okay, I already got tilted on those 2 picks. This dipshit did not need to take his 3rd running back and take. I'll take Mixon. He's got a correlation week 17 to the Chargers. Man, this is the problem with having kind of normal people in here. They both just fucked me on who I really wanted. I like Chuba a lot. I like Chuba over Kamara, Walker, probably Mixon and Connor. I like James Cook a lot. He's been skyrocketing. Chase Brown goes too low here. I like him a lot. Kyron, I'm trying to talk myself into. Breece Hall, it's risky. McCaffrey's risky, like I said, for where he goes. Genty should be really good. Henry, I tend to think Barkley, Henry, Taylor, Kyron, they're similar, and probably Genty, they're similar type backs that don't catch a lot of balls and are real good, powerful backs. Bijan's more of an all-around back. Hampton might be like Bijan, not quite as athletic. Gibbs, Bucky, HN, Brown, pass-catching smaller backs who can be really good for DraftKings. Put the Jacobs with the bruisers like Barkley. James Cook, put him with the Browns, the Gibbs. So I got 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers. George Kittle just went. Now he's the 3rd elite tight end, so he often goes on this wraparound here. If he slips to here, you want to take him, at least where we stand now in ADPs. I mean, they took the 2 guys I wanted. That's really annoying. Sidekick's recommending Jalen Waddle, and he is an ADP value. Eagles at ADP 57. I'm at 64 here, so it's 7 spots. I have a ton of Juwan Jennings. I do need Rome Odunze. I have a lot of Waddle, I think. Let's go ahead and take Rome Odunze for this team. Let's mix it up. I think Rome Odunze goes too high, but he does have potential. I think he goes too high based on the Bears. Last year, he's a good player, but the Bears last year and the number of weapons they have now, and everybody's bullish because of Ben Johnson, but it can get spread around a lot. They have Luther Burden, a rookie wide receiver. They have Colston Loveland, a rookie tight end. Obviously, they have DJ Moore. They have Swift. They may have another weapon in the running back game. They have Kmet. So I don't love it here. He could be, but he could be really good for PPR as well. He was open a lot last year, and Caleb missed him time and again. So that was to mix it up a little bit. Godwin, I'm kind of avoiding right now because I think he's going to come in. He's going to possibly miss the first few games or not be completely healthy. Jennings, I have a ton of. Don't worry as much about these Q tags if you look into them on the particular guys. Now, Diggs could be banged up, but most of the Q tags are sort of BS. Like Pearsall's. Ayuk's is legit. Pittman's is BS. Trevor's is BS. So people will avoid these guys that have Q tags. I don't have a chat set up to see if anybody talks to me while this is going on or shows up in the room. How do I do that? Well, I can't see if you're chatting, but if you are, say hi. Maybe I'll see it afterward. I'll have to figure out how to set up this Streamlabs for that next time. I'm probably going to stop recording this at 30 minutes because I think that's all I get my free, but I'll probably run the stream for the whole draft. So I got an elite quarterback locked up, 2 running backs and 3 wide receivers. That's a nice start. Tight end Laporta is a good one. I think will do well. He's going a bit below, but then you have Hawkinson, Kelsey, and a bunch of guys, and I sort of put them with the other good tight ends. I don't think there's enough guarantee that Hawkinson needs to go like a round or 2 above people. And Kelsey, I'm bearish on. The Chiefs, I'm bearish on where Mahomes goes. He goes too early, in my opinion. He has not put up massive numbers the last, 2 or 3 seasons, based on how their offense is. Rashee Rice is going to be out, most likely, for a few games. They're saying they want to play more deep ball, but they'll probably just grind it like a lot of teams do, continue to do that again. Burrow, I think, is very likely, assuming he's healthy and whatnot, to throw a lot of touchdowns. But I would put Mahomes more with, and Burrow stacks well. So he's worth grabbing. Not naked, but like, if you have guys here in this part of the board, just stack with him in the Arizona. But I wouldn't take Mahomes till, Mayfield, Nix, Purdy, Fields, those guys start going. So I never get him because people always grab him early. Now, I have 2 running backs and 3 wide receivers. I would like to get a wide receiver here. This motherfucker has 4 running backs, and he's who took Hubbard. This guy just took Flowers, so he thought he was a good pick. And he took Jalen. I have a ton of Tony Pollard, but he's really the of this tier running backs, he's the last one. Yeah, he's the last one. So this guy's going to snipe me on Pollard. This guy took. See, didn't I say it? I got 2 shitheads right before me. That can really fuck up a draft. He did not need to take his 4th running back. He's hurting his team by doing that. In all likelihood. Reed, Downs, and Golden. Let's go with Golden on this one. Oh, that's a week 5 bye week. That's all right, though. Yeah, it said that on here. That's all right. It has a correlation with the Ravens. Has a correlation with Lamar. And actually, the Baltimore Green Bay stack is one of the easiest ones to build. It's the one I built a lot of, and it's easy to build, and it's projected pretty high scoring. Now, I wrote these down a couple weeks ago. I looked at what they're projected for the Week 17 scoring, and none of them were super high, but Baltimore Green Bay was one of the 4 or 5 highest. Now that'll change, but so that if that's a high scoring game and you have Baltimore Green Bay players going the final week. But it's a very easy one to backstack with Love. There's a lot of different pieces on the Ravens, which is why missing Flowers isn't a big deal. Because a lot of guys can hit on any given week. He spreads it around, especially from game to game. But this asshole, I wanted to get my 3rd, but I still like it. I got 4 good wide receivers. I got a rookie, 2 rookies. But it hasn't gone perfectly. So here the question is, I have a quarterback already. I don't need to rush a quarterback whatsoever. I think Addison's a good pick. Yeah, Addison's a good pick. I mean, I don't want to reach for one of those running backs. Hopefully, I'll get Andrews later. Let's go for Addison. So I've got 5 good wide receivers already, so I don't care if Addison misses a couple games. Golden has a chance to be like the alpha receiver on that team. A lot of people think it'd be Jaden Reed. They're kind of going back to back, but with Watson hurt and all that, he should be a good pick. I got 2 bye week 5. That's not really that big a deal. It really isn't that big a deal until you start getting to 3 and 4 of the same position on the same week. Then you got to really watch it. I do want to get a 3rd running back, but I think if Andrews comes back around, hopefully. So Addison on Minnesota, he's really good. He may be getting suspended for a few games, in which case Jalen Naylor is actually a decent pick. I've gotten him late multiple times. Especially when I have J.J. McCarthy. J.J. McCarthy, I don't love him. I'm worried about him. So I'm not super bullish, but I do take him. I do like Drake May a lot because he runs. J.J. McCarthy may run some. You can see where the ADPs are on DraftKings. Basically, all these guys are sort of similar, and you can have preferences, but you don't. Bo Nix is my favorite of them, but you don't need to. You kind of want to stack with them, but you probably want to get one of these guys, at least on your team. But I have a stud quarterback, so I want one more to go with him. And the guys that I have that I can stack with are. Let's see. I can stack with Caleb, McCarthy. Going down, Russell and Dart, Trevor Lawrence. Technically with the running backs, but I do a little bit of that. Oh, and Love. So you see, I've got a lot of guys down here. I don't need to rush and take another quarterback. I may go for Caleb if he's there, just because a Caleb-Lamar combination is pretty cool, and I don't have many of those. I don't think. So I need a running back and a tight end. Ingram is sort of the top of this tier, but Njoku's risen quite a bit. He was going down here. Andrews, Warren, then you got Warren and Loveland, the rookies. Kraft should have a good year. Kincaid, I think, is going to have a good year, although I got burned on him really bad last year. Likely is a guy that I really like. I wish he was going a little lower. Jonnu Smith is starting to look good on Pittsburgh here. Goddard, I really like how late he's going, but I think he's my number one owned tight end by quite a bit, so I'm not taking him. Ferguson, I think, goes a little too high sometimes. Ertz is okay. Pitts is okay. Strange could be a good sleeper one. Gesicki, Henry, I have a lot of. He's a good value and a good steady play. He should be going higher. Cade, Okonkwo, there's been buzz with him and Ward. Mason Taylor's a rookie. I have gotten a lot of him. I don't really love him, but when you look down here, you got Waller, Freeman, there's a second Schultz, Johnson, Theo Johnson. I have a lot of. Sanders, I have a lot of. I have not taken any Taysom Hill. Then you got Ferguson or Higbee. I would take Higbee. I don't think they're going to play the rookie tight end much. Komet, if Loveland is banged up, plus the second tight end on there. Julian Hill, I haven't taken any of, but Darren Waller, he could be like a tight end that gets play on there. Gadsden, Arroyo, Harold Fannin is the guy I have by far the most of down here. All right, so we're going to take Andrews if these guys don't dick me over. They've dicked me over. Okay, he has Hawkinson. He shouldn't take him. This guy might dick me over. They've both dicked me over twice. This round and this round. That's a little tilting, but so I'm just going to assume he's going to dick me over here. And if he does, I have a backup plan. I mean, Mark Andrews is getting a year older. He dropped that ball in the thing, but he gets touchdowns every year. I mean, he was sort of a Kittle light, not as mobile, but so he didn't take him. So I might as well take Andrews, I think. I could take Evan Ingram. If I knew I could get Likely later, I would take Andrews, but I miss Likely a lot. So now one guy I want to star is Rashad Bateman here. What happened to him? They took him next because he's a nice stack with Lamar. One of these guys can have big weeks. Bateman looked good last year. So like Lamar can have a big week with Andrews, then he could have a big week with Bateman. I didn't look at his ADP. But I like getting the main positions locked down, so I have the best quarterback in my opinion, or one of the best, and I have a decent tight end. Now I only have 2 running backs. I don't like going that far without it. Now the Sidekick is starting to recommend my second quarterback already, so they're seeing a run on quarterbacks. They want me to take Drake May, Trevor Lawrence. How much am I reaching on him? Pick 131. He should be there in the next round, or Jordan Love, or Stroud, or Herbert. So even though I want to take quarterback here, I should wait. That really sucks that he took Bateman, because I would have snapped up Bateman here. I don't know what Bateman's ADP is, but that's one thing I don't like on here. You can't see the ADP directly. He took Spears. Okay. I'm getting a lot of Cam Scatterbo because the Sidekick likes him. I'm getting a lot of Tootin because the Sidekick likes him. But here I think I'm going to go... I'm going to go J.K. Dobbins. I don't have hardly any of them. He does have the same bye week, but... he was a guy that did me really well last year. I was grabbing him late a lot, along with Rico Dowdle. before they really got the roles, and then they went up, and they both had good years, especially Dowdle. But Dobbins smashed in the beginning part of the year. As soon as any news I saw about him was positive on his health last year, I was grabbing him because their other running back was Gus Edwards, who had no juice whatsoever, and we knew the Chargers were going to run a lot. I don't like getting that there. I would have taken Spears, but you got to go with the flow. So I got 1-3-5-1. I want to get a backup tight end fairly soon and a backup quarterback and some running backs. I got a nice wide receiver room, assuming, Odunze, Golden, and Addison are all right. I got two guys that could be among the top wide receivers. Again, if it had gone according to plan, I would have had Chuba here. I would have Flowers here and like Robinson or Pollard here. And then my whole build would be different. But it didn't, and I'm adapting. And again, I'm taking guys like I've taken Scatabo a lot lately. I like Tracy better. Tracy was another late round running back that I had a lot of last year that did well. I didn't have enough Bucky Irving, but I had a decent amount. If I had listened to some of the influencers, they were really like Bucky. I should have listened to them a little more on that. But of course, nobody knows anything. They all hated Bo Nix. They all hated the Broncos. I mean, every football analyst, and look at them now. And they fade guys like Cortland Sutton still. Judy. These guys should put up good numbers, and they're going. There's really no reason Cortland Sutton couldn't go around, or even two earlier. I mean, there's sort of, I guess what my point is, that's what I was talking about, the third round wide receivers. These guys all could come in the same range. Olave, Devontae Smith could beat out Worthy easily. Ray Rice, Garrett Wilson with the volume, DJ Moore could beat him out. So there's a big range there. Mike Evans could have a really good year. Could be old. Ridley should have a good year. Debo, I'm extremely bearish on. Egbuka, I'm worried about with Godwin. I think he goes a little too high, but I'm not worried about, but I think he goes a little too high sometimes. Ayuk, I'm extremely bearish on. Liam Murphy, Liam Chess, he loves Ayuk. He took a ton of him last year, and that burned him, and he still takes him this year. Liam's a great player, though, but sometimes he gets on a player, a little stuck. But he does like James Cook. A guy I really like is Shakir, and he's going late. Where did he go here? Here. The number one receiver on the Bills, he looked really good at the end of last year and in the playoffs. Could take another step forward. I have a lot of Shakir. Kupp, you're banking on a rebound. It's iffy, but he's a good value. He could be a good value in PPR. Mooney looks good. Higgins, I'm a little worried about because they already have Kirk. They have another rookie wide receiver. I think this is what I was mentioning about being so bullish on the rookie wide receivers, even though I took one. The rookie running backs are a safer bet. Caleb Johnson, I really, really like. Harvey should be really good by the end of the year. Travian Henderson should be really good by the end of the year. All right, so it's telling me to take a quarterback, and that is what I want to do. I can stack Stroud with Mixon. I can stack Trevor Lawrence with Brian Thomas, and I think you know which one. Or I can stack Jordan Love with Green Bay and go for the Baltimore Green Bay stack, but I think you know which one I want. I'll tell you which one I want is Trevor Lawrence, and I got him. I have a lot of Love already. Is Caleb still there? No. So you see there's a drop-off, sort of a tier drop-off after Love to Tua, Stafford, Bryce Young, Cam Moore, Geno Smith, Darnold, and Aaron Rodgers. All those are going to be starters. Geno Smith is too low, and probably Darnold. They should probably be the same or above Bryce Young. Stafford's probably too low, and Tua's probably too low if he's healthy. So I still only have 3 running backs. I got 2 quarterbacks, so I'm not taking another quarterback till the end because I have Lamar. If I had 2 here, I might consider need taking another one. There goes Likely. I could have. I don't think I have the double Baltimore tight end stack. All right, so let's see what we got here. We got Byshell Tootin stacked. We got Colston Loveland. We got Strange stacked. I have a lot of Colston Loveland. I like this Tootin. I got 3 Jacksonville stacked. And also a nice thing with stacks is when you get a quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end, or the mix of those, not just like 2 wide receivers. I have a lot of quarterback and running backs, probably more than most people. But you also remember running back, wide receivers, running back, tight end, wide receiver, tight end can be stacked without the quarterback. And Jacksonville, again, is playing what? Indy? I don't have an Indy player. I could have taken Downs. Not super worried about that. I like having a Jacksonville stack and a Baltimore stack. A Ravens stack going. This is a nice setup. And there's a tight end I would love to take if he comes back around. That'll give me a 4 Jacksonville stack. I don't often go 4, or I probably do more this year, but 4 team stacks, but they can be good. Don't have any bye week problems as far as position wise, because sometimes I'll take an 8-8 right off the bat. I do have some 8s, but they're different positions. 7, 5, 5, 12, 12. 2 running backs on 12. I got screwed on running back there. I would have taken Spears or Tracy. But you got to roll with the punches. Tootin's a guy that the sidekick absolutely loves. The legendary upside guys, Pat Kerrane and all of them. They love him. Way, way, way over Jaden Blue. He's extremely explosive. Etienne looked like hot garbage last year. I mean, he was awful. Bigsby looked pretty good. Look where Etienne's went. That's way. I mean, I'd probably taken him around there. It's way too early. He was going down here not that long ago. Etienne looked terrible. Possibly was banged up. Bigsby looked good. Spears should be the most explosive of them by far. He could be the smash of smashes. So you probably want to get some of him in the mid rounds. I like Stevenson for early season work. There's a lot of guys I get for more early season, and then they might like Henderson's probably going to take over a lot by the end. Tracy definitely early season work. Scatabo may take over some of it. Aaron Jones for early season work. Mason may take over some of it. Caleb Johnson I really like. I think he fits the Steelers. I mean, he's going to be a better version of Najee Harris. I don't think Warren's going to get as much play. Robinson I like. Pollard. They're saying Pollard Spears is going to be a 50-50 split. That's what they said last year, and Pollard dominated him and was good. Chuba I really like. Ken Walker I'm a little worried about. Kamara I'm worried about. Mixon's a good boring pick. Harvey I like, but Sean Payton's hard to trust, and they're going to take a little while on him. DeAndre Swift I don't really like. He's in a good situation, though. All right, 2-4-5-1. I like to get a second tight end here. That's what the sidekick's recommending. My boy Strange went. Strange is who I would have taken for my Jacksonville stack. Oh, no, there's somebody else in front of me. Sorry. One tight end, 2-2. Look at, okay. You can't always trust people in DraftKings to do the right thing. You can't. They are more often than they used to, and people act like underdog. They always do the right thing. They don't in underdog. I do like Jonnu a lot, but I'm gonna go ahead and take I'm gonna take Quentin Johnson with the Chargers stack. I don't have a lot of him. And I got 2 Chargers there, and I do like the Chargers this year. And they go with Mixon as a Week 17 stack. And he had Herbert. I just fucked him over if he wanted him. The reason why I did that is there's a lot of tight ends in this range, and he has 2 tight ends. He has 2, so they shouldn't take a third yet. He may, but people will take a third. I mean, he don't look. If you have Bowers and Likely, you take a third. That's not that smart. And he has probably the 2 best of that tier, in my opinion, Ingram and Njoku. So he doesn't need to take one. You know, he took his third quarterback. He took his second. He only has one quarterback over here. I'm definitely waiting on a third. I got Lamar and Lawrence. I really don't even technically need a third, but on DraftKings, with the 20 spots, I pretty much always will take a third. Very, very rarely I won't. But it's going to be a late round one. So I'm taking a second tight end here. I pretty much know it. I got a 2-4-6-1 going. And I got 6 wide receivers already. And 4 of them, you know, there's some 2s in there. There's quite a few wide receiver 2s, but they're on good teams, and they're guys who could have put up points. He's more of a shot. I mean, he did well last year, and people hate him, but so tight end. I have a boatload of Hunter Henry. Oh, Jonnu's there. Yeah, I don't have enough Jonnu. I want Jonnu. I got Jonnu. His ADP, it said, was 137. That means I got him 23 picks after ADP, if that's correct. So because I got Jonnu, I need to star Aaron Rodgers. He's a good one to late stack and can be a third quarterback that you don't take at the end of the round. To Jackson Dart. Okay. So I have a Giants. So Jackson Dart and Russell Wilson. People are sleeping on Russell and Aaron Rodgers. I would like one of those 3 for my third quarterback. Yeah, so pretty happy. Not super strong not super strong at really any position except for quarterback, but I got some nice stacks going, got a nice balanced team going, getting some guys I don't have a lot of already, getting a lot of young guys, second-year guy, first-year guy, old guy, second-year guy, first-year guy, young guy, old guy, rookie, another rookie, first-year guy. So I've got a lot of youth that could improve a lot. And I tend to have, you know, somewhat balanced. Oh, I have the top of my board cut off a little too much there. Sorry. So you can't see each time I've been showing what I have. That should be fixed now, hopefully. Sorry, I keep showing up here, but I have a 2-4-6-2 going. On Underdog, I don't like to keep the board. I like to put the board on a separate page because I really want to look at the ADPs and whatnot, because I don't know them as well. You can see I'm not being ruled by the sidekick. Most of the time I've agreed with the sidekick as far as position, but I don't even know how many of their first picks I've taken. Probably hardly any. But it does give me a reminder of correlations, buy overlaps. But the same guys pop up too much on the sidekick right now. Now that might change come training camp. I'm sure it will change. Sacrilegious actually mentioned to me on the Discord that it would, but because as the news comes. But if you have been using the sidekick, you see Tootin a lot on there. You see Jalen Noel a ton on there. I have way too much Josh Palmer already on my own. Demario Douglas is on there a lot. Pat Bryant's on there a lot. I have a ton of Diami, but I like him. So let's see, how many rounds do we have left? We got 6 rounds. We're going to get 1, 2, 2, 1. We're going to get 1 more quarterback, 2 more running back, 2 more wide receivers, and 1 more tight end. Now, I have to keep an eye on the quarterbacks because I do want to. Actually, I don't really have to keep a deep eye. I feel like my tight end's a little weak. My wide receivers are probably the most solidified. I mean, I got 5 ones that could be really good and 1 that could be decent. Running backs, I'm not super happy about, but Jerome Ford just went. He's a guy I don't have hardly any of that I would like to be getting, and he wasn't showing up on the ADP thing. Miles Sanders, I have way too much of. Rico Dowdle, I have a lot of. There's a guy I want right now, and hopefully this guy won't take him. Don't take him. How many running backs do you have? He only has 4. Good, he didn't take him. Fuck you, bro. Rashawn. I don't have quite as much of him as I thought. Now they're wanting me to take D-Hop for the third Baltimore piece, which I may, but he sometimes slips. He is the third on ADP. I could also have taken Chubb there, but Roschon's young, and DeAndre Swift is not a good player in the last few years. If they had added in a rookie running back, everybody would be taking that guy. Roschon, if they have an open competition, he may outright beat him out, or we'll see. There's also Manangai, who's a rookie running back, but he was a really, really, really late pick. I don't even think I've taken him once. I probably need to take him once just to have him, because if training camp comes out. I'll show you one thing I look at sometimes to get a take on a player. Although it's on, let me see if it's on. Let's see. This is a different browser, but I'll show you just a couple things I like to look at. Okay, so it's on me again. 2562. Let's see. Kareem Hunt, Demario, Gesicki. I'm going to take Gesicki. Locks up a third tight end there. I'm not super bullish on any of them, but hopefully together they can cobble something. Jonnu may end up scoring the most of those three. There was kind of a drop-off after them. I mean, I have a lot of Taylor. I don't like Waller. Freeman the second. Schultz could be good. Juwan Johnson's sort of underrated. I have a lot of Theo. I have a lot of Sanders. So that's sort of the drop-off tier. That's why I did that. So I got my tight ends done. Not going to be taking any more tight ends. And they all have different bye weeks. Gesicki, when T. Higgins and Chase, when one of them is out, Gesicki was basically the third preferred target of Burrow, other than Chase Brown sometimes. It wasn't Yoshivas last year, which I thought it would be. I had a ton of Yoshivas last year, and Burrow just didn't like throwing to him, even though he was open a lot. So I'm not taking as much Yoshivas this year, although he could be a good late pick. Then there's Jermaine Burton, who's a talented, explosive type wide receiver they drafted last year, who they hated his attitude, and they wouldn't throw him any balls. He could be getting some action. But Chase Brown is a guy that should be really good, especially for PPR, and he fell to there. He never falls to there in my drafts. I mean, I never get him here. I would love that. You can see I'm sort of comfortable with the flow of taking one of these elite quarterbacks here, of how it goes. Get your second quarterback mid-range. You pack your tight ends mid-range unless you get Kittle, run the wraparound, or Laporta. The running backs on this side aren't quite as good. That's why I was bummed to miss out. I mean, theoretically, this team possibly could go for 7 running backs, but I won't do that. Mike Wilson's been going high. I mean, Douglas should be decent for PPR, but you can see how early these guys are going. Okay, so Russell, Tyler Shough, and Rodgers went, so I want Jackson Dart. Hopefully he won't get snapped up before me. So that's who I'll be taking this round. That way I got my third quarterback locked up, and he is stacked with my with neighbors. Russell could start all season if the Giants do better than expected, but most likely at the end of the season it's going to be Jackson Dart, and Jackson Dart can run. He was considered a much better prospect in the draft than Shough. I do like Shough too, though, because their other quarterbacks Rattler was so bad last year. Shough, he's old, but he was actually a really, really high recruit coming out of high school. He's had a varied up and down college career and injuries and whatnot. I don't know all his history, but he's getting that starting spot. They have weapons. New Orleans could be better on offense than people think. He could be better than people think. So he's a good late round pick. If you need points more, then you go Rodgers or Wilson. I don't mind reaching on either. I mean, I don't mind reaching on him. Him I won't reach on. Daniel Jones is the other. Oh, Daniel Jones is still there. and Richardson. So if I get sniped, I'll take one of those two, just to have a third quarterback. But I think I'll go Jackson Dart, even though I have a ton of Jackson Dart and Shuck. They're more likely to contribute late in the game to my team than Jones or Richardson. I barely have any Richardson. I know people take him because they think he can get like a 30-point rushing game, but he's got very few of those, and he may not play all year. He may be traded as a backup to somebody to develop. Daniel Jones could easily keep that job all year, and he's all right. He could be on the same level as Rodgers and whatnot. All right, so I'm going to take. Let me see how many quarterbacks they have. Two. They'll probably take a quarterback, so I'm going to go ahead and just lock up Jackson Dart. I can already see on my board out of the corner of my eye that they have several running backs up there. So I got my quarterbacks done. I got my tight ends done. I'm going to need one running back and two wide receivers to go. Are there sleepers that I like on the Ravens? Not with D-Hop gone, I don't think so. Oh, Keaton Mitchell, yeah. I have some Devontae Walker, too. I've taken him a few times. It's pretty scary, though. He was a pretty high draft pick. They didn't play at all, so they could play him. The Jags, I have 3 of them already, so I don't really want a sleeper there. There aren't really any. The Giants, there are sleepers on, and I have a ton of them. Oh, he's gone. I have a ton of Slayton, but he's been rising. So I don't really need to backstack, although, like I said, with one guy, I actually do want to backstack. So where is Keaton going? Oh, and the guy I don't have hardly any of is Justice Hill, but he gets snapped up too early. Let's look. He went here. This guy was, I don't know if he was worried about me stacking, but Justice Hill would be a really good pick if he was here right here, but he's not. I never get him, unfortunately. I probably need a little more of him. His upside is very limited, but he may put up 14, 15 points. He has that role. I think I will roll the dice here. I think I'm going to go ahead and snap up Keaton Mitchell to go with my Baltimore. It's a little early on him, but I don't think I have many Lamar, Keaton Mitchell, Andrews teams. I have a lot of these rookie running backs already. I have a lot of DJ Giddens. Kareem Hunt is probably a good one for late for safety points. I have a lot of Taj Brooks. Decent amount of Quorum. Quorum could be really pick a little bit of Mostert, a little bit of James. I do have quite a bit of Ollie Gordon. I had to slow down taking him. He's probably my favorite of these deep guys because A-Chain can get hurt. He's not this. Gordon can be the goal line back either way. And Jay Wright, what's his name? Jalen Wright? Is that his name? He was freaking terrible last year if you watched him play. He goes way high. He was awful. Now, Miami's offense was awful when Tua went out in the injuries, which is on the coach, Mike McDonald. I've lost a lot of faith or credit to him because they had no backup quarterback plan in place, and he had no ability to adapt. Now, if you look at KOC and the Packers coach, the Packers coach adapted to Malik Willis and won games. Malik Willis, who nobody wanted, who couldn't do anything. They won games. The Minnesota coach brought in Sam Darnold and put up points in won games. He did it with a bunch of different quarterbacks. That's a sign of a good coach and a good schemer. Mike McDonald, they think he's a one-trick pony, and they actually think people might have figured him out. So be cautious on Miami this year. Be cautious, I think, on the 49ers. Everybody loves them, but there's a lot of injuries, a lot of uncertainty, and also there's a lot of bubbling under the surface of discontent. And Shanahan's been there a long time. Sometimes people burn out their welcome. Purdy was hurt. Purdy sometimes floats balls. I don't know. I have a lot of these guys. I like them, but the bullishness on them is a little overrated. The bullishness on J.J. McCarthy is a bit overdone. I mean, this guy took him. Well, no, he didn't go that high. He might have Sam Darnold's numbers with slightly more rushing. And what did Sam Darnold put up last year? He had a decent year. He had a few really good weeks. He had a few 20-point weeks. He had that 37-point week. He could be a worse Sam Darnold. He's very young. He hasn't hardly played that much football. In which case, KOC is that his initials? KOC or not AOC? He might be doing more of a short pepper game, short passing game. If he doesn't really trust McCarthy, and they could be doing more running with Aaron Jones and Mason. So I need 2 wide receivers here. I locked up my running backs. I have 2 rookie running backs and some olds. And a very uncertain guy. He could be the J.K. Dobbins of this year. He could emerge and do really well. Obviously, if Henry goes down, you got Justice Hill and him. He says he's extremely healthy. He's a lot like Dobbins, who came from Baltimore, where they were really talented guys who've been hurt. But that actually means they don't have much tread on their tires either. Okay, I see who fits perfectly with this team, and they love him. And he's popping right to the top. I have a lot of them, but I mean, everybody loves him. I'm starting to get too much of him, but and that's they took him. They took A.D. Mitchell. Wait, did they? Oh no, he popped back up. See, he moved off the sidekick for a second. I don't really understand all the bullishness for him. I mean, he was open a lot last year, and he's young and talented. But they already have Downs and Pittman, and then they have Pierce. Now, Pierce is a long ball merchant. And what's his name? Daniel Jones can't throw a long ball for shit anymore. He's a decent quarterback, like a safe sort of short court. If you watched him last year, he cannot throw a fucking long ball. So Alec Pierce's role it's basically a bet on Richardson. If you like Richardson, take out Alec Pierce with him. So I guess that makes Adonai a third wide. I don't know why that much bullishness on the third wide receiver on, because there's a lot of other guys who are going to be third wide receivers. Ooh, there's a guy I want. That I haven't taken enough. Yeah, there's a guy I want that I haven't taken enough. But Indianapolis does stack with Jacksonville in Week 17. I have 3 Jacksonville and I have him. I've got 3 Baltimore and 1 Green Bay. I got that stacked. So both my quarterbacks are stacked and have Week 17 stacked. Chargers are not stacked, are they? Oh yeah, no, these 2 are stacked. The Giants are stacked with New England. The Giants are stacked with the Raiders. And I'm not going to say anything more about that right now. Pittsburgh stacked with Cleveland. I don't have any Cleveland. I've been getting a lot of that game stacked, even though it's going to be a low-scoring game. That's who I wanted, Deontay Thornton. I stopped taking him, but I think he actually may have a role. I stopped taking him because he was up there with Besh. I was taking Besh and Trey Tucker a lot. Now I ended up with too much Trey Tucker, and I want Devontae. He would have been amazing in the last round. I probably should have snatched him here. Noah Brown. The 3 Redskins wide receivers are amazing picks. We don't know which one, though. One of them is Noah Brown, Jalen Lane, and McCaffrey. I prefer Jalen Lane, actually, probably. Damn, I wanted Thornton. See, the psychic wants me to take Trey Tucker to stack with him, but I have a lot of him already. I have a lot of these guys. Oh, who do I want that I don't have a lot of? I don't think I have Luke McCaffrey on actually once. I have him on. I have a lot of Jalen Lane on DraftKings, and I have some Brown, but I don't think I actually had any Luke McCaffrey, so I went and took him. One of those 3 is going to be an amazing. Oh, look, they all went. So people are like smarter than they used to be. A lot more people are following information. You got 3 third potential wide receivers on the Skins go. And he went to the Jalen Daniels guy. So this Jalen Daniels guy was probably like, what the fuck? I would have taken Thornton. Tolbert and Turpin are two good picks. Like, don't be taking Adonai Mitchell every freaking time. Take some MVS and the Torrey Horton on Seattle. Take some Naylor. Take some Lockett and Ayamanor and Restrepo and DK. The multiple guys on Tennessee could come in. Don't take too much Wicks. Don't take too much Atwell, but you can take them. Don't take too much of any of these guys because they're uncertain. Roman Wilson's a good punt with Rodgers late, but that's kind of early on. Don't take too much Coker. Slayton and De'Ami Brown are good safe picks, in my opinion. Douglas should be a good safe pick. Mike Wilson's a good safe pick, but not as much upside as people act like. Yoshivas should be decent. Palmer I really like for his position, but I have way too much of him. He's going 6 rounds usually or more past Coleman. He could put up more points than Coleman easily for the Bills. We don't know yet. We do know they spread the ball around. I already told you I really like Shakir, and I kind of like Kincaid. Coleman's talented, but he drops balls and whatever. Palmer can get open. He can catch balls. He could have a better year than Coleman. All the Buffalo guys, you got to keep in mind, he spreads it around. Lamar does that too. But having their pieces late on the best teams with the most scoring, with the best quarterbacks, can have a 20-point game to Palmer late in the year. MVS and Horton, will be like the third wide receiver for Seattle, one of them. And you have Cooper Kupp, who might be washed and is old. Could be great. But both him and JSN are kind of short, receivers. They go short. So long balls. Then some other guys. Well, I'm going to wrap it up. That's been over an hour. Yeah, DraftKings drafts take up to an hour. They're pretty long. But I don't know if anybody checked out the screen, and I don't know if the recording worked, but I'm getting some practice in on doing these again.